What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to be part of the Capoeira community, to training, supporting your school. That's the most important part of being in Capoeira because, we don't have schools, we don't have Capoeira community. So it's good to be all together. And this year has been super, super crazy with events. We have if we look on Facebook, we probably have events almost every weekend, which is super super cool. And every time I go to capoeira events, I very fulfilling because I get connections, and sometimes I get just like it just clicks at the moment that we have that connection, and it makes me very happy to get more connections, to make more friends, and it just makes me happy. And then last week I was at Mr. Lovino's event, and then this guy approached me and he was like, "Oh, you the podcast guy?" and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then we talk, and then we have really great creation during the event, and then now here we are. So let me introduce you to Contramestre Mico. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, Kashishi. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited.
Thank you for your time for being here in the podcast and sharing your experience and share your knowledge and
Oh
all
man,
that.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Super happy to learn from you.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, I love like learning together. I think that's what it's all about.
100%, totally agree with that. So just to get started, what is your social media so people can find you there and can find your work?
Yeah, Instagram is Capoeira Gainesville, all spelled out, and that's the city that I teach and live in right now. And that's the best place to find us. We have a website too, capoeiragainesville.com, but social media for Instagram, at Capoeira Gainesville.
Perfect. And I'll put all the information on the description so anyone wants to swing by there, and then just make sure you contact them and swing them. The music. I get goosebumps right now. The music, the one of the last holidays when you were singing,
Oh
man,
man, it's so much
was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, we have another social. There's not much. There isn't really much on there now, but it's something that it's a new project, Masape Music Project, and
Okay.
that's Instagram all spelled out. Masape, our group, and then Music Project. So yeah, music's a huge big part of our school and my focus too.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. This is, and then the energy, and that's so important in our capoeira community, right? Because is like Contramestre was talking there. If
Mhm.
if the music doesn't connect, it's just like the energy just like bleh,
Yep.
and then just crashes, and then it's just not the best. But
Yeah.
when we have that music going on, man, everybody jumping, moving, everybody flipping in the harder is just cool.
Yeah, man. It's a big thing of what we do here at the academy and a big focus of mine. And I would say the past 10 years has been when I've really been diving into the music even more. I didn't start off that way at all. And one thing that I try to talk about with my students when I go do workshops is that there's phases that capoeirista goes through with the music, or should try to go through. One, the first you learn the songs like for yourself, and you learn the beat and bow for yourself. I want to learn this talkie, and then you improve your technical ability, and then you learn how to do the leads right for the song.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
learned,
yeah.
we see the students, and I remember when I first sang a lead the first time, and then you're singing lead, but then I think intentionally, and there's this big movement in capoeira like around the world these days to focus on this, which is I love it. Is then it goes beyond singing a lead and it's leading the roda.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
at the event there with Messi Lubino's event, it was something that I think like a good conductor of the Honda should do. It's almost like you're fishing, like a DJ or an MC.
A
You kind of
hundred
read the
percent.
room. I would sing a song and it's like maybe like on my playlist that's hype other places that I go. Well, oh, it's not so hype here. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's a new group of people. So kind of like fishing. You stay with a song and then and then you hit, I'm
Yeah.
just like thinking about it right now. Like hit,
Nice.
and it might not. Usually it's like a simple song too. It's nothing crazy, But you find that energy that matches the moment,
A hundred percent.
Like the bachata is like up energy, right? Like it's a celebration. So you're trying to fish with songs, at least for me, that are like that match that energy, and
Mm-hmm.
then you find it like okay, and then you kind of take these people on a journey. But what I do is I sing for the halda, for the event.
100%.
I'm not
Yes.
singing for like, oh, it's me and like playing beat and bow. Watch me do this variation. I'm doing the variation to give to the halda, to give to the event, to give to the people that are playing in that moment. You know, because it's so special. Because that moment's never going to happen again, right?
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Yeah.
even if we all get together, it's the exact same people in the exact same place. That moment won't happen again because the energy is going to be different. So it's so special.
Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of where my starting place for all this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. And also as a music, and then we been many hardas, and then it's going to be like you said, like it's not about the singer, it's about the harda, right? The situation of the harda. And then sometimes uh capoeiristas have to read the energy of the harda, right? When then the energy is kind of like going down, going down, going down. Don't let it drop, and then
Yeah,
you have to bring that up, and then is you have to know that nice balance, and you feel it, and you can totally feel it, and then
yeah,
you can feel it. You have to be there, and then 100% connected with the harda for you to be able
mhm,
to bring that energy back. And yeah, it's just a really good connection that you have to know how to do it when you lead in the harda.
yeah, yeah. And we were starting to talk about Messi Valdemar and like the studies I've done with him.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That first, there was a seed planted in me like really long time ago, when I actually first started capoeira, and I didn't really understand much about the music and didn't understand much about capoeira. Of course, we're all still learning, but you know what I mean, like in the very
Yeah,
very beginning stages. And the album, Messi Valdemar Messi Canjiquinha, and I heard that CD, and that really like stuck with me. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then so I just did like a little bit about Messi Valdemar, just kind of looked up like a little bit, and just in the beginning learning like his way of conducting the halda. He was known to be like a really gentle person, but
yeah,
everybody respected him like
yeah,
really really well because he was a great capoeirista. But he didn't command the respect by like beating people up or yelling. His thing was to never say anything bad about anybody, but
yeah,
very strong still, like very very strong, and so that sort of planted that initial seed about like conducting the halda. And then from there, later on in my capoeira career, I started to learn about more about Messananias, who now is like everyone like really loves Messananias, and you go
yeah.
everywhere. And I'm super fan for Messananias, and
His music, man. His music
oh,
is
crazy. And when I
yeah,
first heard his album in 2004, I was like, oh, that's different.
yeah,
I didn't have the musical knowledge, and I didn't know what was going on to know what was different. And then that like just kicked off a really long journey up till now, where I'm kind of able to understand what's going on, even though like I'm not like a master in like everything, and I'm trying to find out from his students and
yeah,
everything. But this way of conducting the halda, and the idea of windows, janelas, between the instruments and the singer. And when you listen to the recordings, or watch the people that came after Messananias, the way
yeah,
they conduct the halda, it's not just singing a lead or playing the instruments. It's really conducting the ritual,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you get this,
yeah,
like such deep experience. And then it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
yeah. It's cool to see that like old school leading the hard and commenting the answer from the, and it's just like that connection that they had on that time, that it's
Yeah,
just they connected so well with the music, and then
yeah,
they connect with the people right there with their voice, and then it's just like,
yeah,
man, it's just like you wish to be there one of those hardest, and like uh
yeah.
man, it's just different.
It's crazy. Like, so one thing I get really excited about is when I see something in our culture that is like ultra next level, like the 1990s Chicago Bulls team.
Yeah,
Like they didn't just win once; they won like year after year after year. And then similar, the same thing, like uh, Bill Gates, like he didn't just like micro like change the world,
yeah,
So I like to look back and what are like the conditions that produced those people, like
yeah,
what conditions produced the 1990s Chicago Bulls, because there were other people playing basketball,
yeah,
like
yeah,
like what produced that winning team. And so I started applying that to research with capoeira. because we have like Salvador Bahia, right? And
Yeah.
everybody knows Messi, Bimba, Pashinha. And
Yeah.
already like that's like crazy. It's like two Michael Jordans living in the same city at the exact same time.
Yeah.
But there was this other guy, Messi Valdemar, too. And people have always known about Messi Valdemar, but you know, there's more energy being put back to that too. So, you know, these guys were all born around the same time. Messi Bimba, 1899, Pashinha, 1889, Messi Valdemar, 1916, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's conditions that were happening there in Brazil, and especially Bahia, you know, and then Salvador, that produced this amazing thing that then produced these other things that now, like Messa Ananias moving to Sao Paulo, and then the Capoeira in Sao Paulo, and then like all these crazy things that happen to produce what's going on right now musically. Like
Yeah.
that can't possibly happen here in Gainesville, Florida. There's no
Yeah.
way, because we would need all these conditions that need to happen for decades and decades prior to like I can't have a Praça da República here in Gainesville, even though there's other capoeiristas in Florida,
Yeah,
and
for sure. Yeah.
we can approximate it and we can push to get there,
Yeah.
but it won't happen in the same way. Like Messa Ananias and the Praça in Sao Paulo, that didn't happen like one day the next. It was
Yeah.
many decades of Messa Ananias, like nobody liking him, and you know, no, like people thinking he's weird, and like, what are you doing with this stuff? Nobody
Yeah.
got it for like a very long time. It wasn't until like, you know, after his album came out and that like people started like really connecting, and now it's like now he's passed and all these people are like going after the research, and there's all these things about that. But these conditions there in Bahia, you know, there's all this kind of like revving up that happened,
Yeah.
and they provided this space for Bimba and Pashi and Valdemar to then do all these other things, and then kind of.
Yeah. 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 100%. It's like I was talking to Cabezon and Mañoso there. I think were you? I don't remember if you were there when we were talking about the environment is going to shape you as a capoeirista. And then, like for example, a person in a city, right, or in Chicago, just for example, a person that grew up in Chicago is not going to be the same, the vision of the capoeira, not as a capoeirista itself, right? Just like how you perceive capoeira and how you uh are inside the capoeira world, totally different from a person that grew up in the country, right? Because is totally different environments, and then you just, the environment is going to shape you as a, I'm not saying that good or bad, but it's just going to be different perspective of capoeira.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah.
the older I get, and the further I move along this journey, I see like how important that is,
Yeah.
and how yeah, just how big that is. You know, it's
Yeah.
just it's kind of everything
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then that comes with what you say, that you know, like those old school capoeiristas that grew up in Bahia and in Sao Paulo, you know, the environment shaped the capoeira that they kind of like planted there, and the social environment, and then you know the culture at the moment, and everything like that, what was going on in the country, political and social economy, everything affected that capoeira there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we see that like in the music with Mestre Valdemar and his ladainhas. With the pandemic, we had a lot of like time to do things, right? And
Yeah.
I chose to really kind of dive in and study and go to like the source material for a lot of these things. So I started listening really in depth to the ladainhas and Mestre Valdemar. I'm like, wow, this is like crazy. And then like they were just really like, they're just stories, you know, and like I didn't know where they came from, and like did he write them, or like, you know, I was trying to figure things out. And then I hit on a YouTube video of this old guy in the country like reciting this poem from memory, and I can send you the link if you want to
Yeah.
put it in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
description later.
100%.
And it's crazy, and I was like, whoa, this guy's like older guy, and he's just like reciting this long format poem, like really long, word for word. And then found out that this is a poem from the Literatura de Cordel, And
Okay.
actually, Mestre Lobinho was the person that first like told me about this thing. And in Brazil, they teach in school, and it's a collection of poems, long form poems.
Huh.
And so Mestre Valdemar like took a lot of his ladainhas from this collection of poems.
No way. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's crazy, man. It's so crazy. And I went and I downloaded the whole thing, and it's really long. Like it's a lot to read. And people study this like in high school and everything in Brazil. And I had no idea this existed. And
Same.
and then yeah, and you go through and I can put a link to the to download the book, and it's just a collection of these poems, and then it's all these like things, and some of the figures were real, and
Yeah.
some of them were fictitious, maybe based on real people.
Okay.
And oh wow, and then you can kind of see all these things, and then it kind of kicked off all of these rabbit holes for me. And then once I understood more of what was going on in La Dainha, you
Yeah.
can hear Mestre Valdemar take lines from these poems that he used in his La Dainha, and then he sings them in his corridos too, like in Paranauê.
Yeah.
Like he sings like Riachão tava cantando is one of my favorite ladainhas, and
Okay.
like really connected to. It's the first one on that CD, and then the Canjiquinha Valdemar, and
Okay.
so I really like dove into that one. Riachão tava cantando, and it's kind of like this like idea of like the idea of like the devil singing and kind of like dueling with the devil. And
Okay.
you find that like this is a theme that like connects to like American music. Like the devil went down to Georgia with the banjos.
That's
We
funny.
have this idea of like this musical duel um
Yeah.
with the devil, and then like cantar martelo, like sing with the hammer, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that led me down this whole rabbit hole of styles of like samba music with like just a few, like this challenging style in bully bully, and like I don't know if you know who bully bully is.
No, no.
Amazing cultural icon with like connected to capoeira, samba, and I suggest everybody go now and like look up videos of bully bully.
Bully, bully.
Amazing.
I'm gonna look it up.
Bully, yeah. And this just a few, and this idea of like this sport challenging with song, and you know this
Yeah.
from samba, and then we have this in capoeira. And then I don't know if you were downstairs in the basement with Mestre Lobinho when Cabeção was singing with Cacique and like
No, I wasn't there yet.
like yeah. It's just a fun part of being connected in the moment and not just singing for yourself, but singing
Yeah.
in the moment and really bringing it all together. So yeah, so many rabbit holes. But this literatura de cordel was really cool, because then it started like opening all these other doors, and then I wanted to know like, okay, who is this character, who
Yeah.
is that character, and then you know, like, and then just trying to find those characters, because a lot of them you can't just Google and find in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But to ask people like, oh, do you know about this? Do you know about that? How about this person? So
Yeah.
I need to like meet more people and connect with more people and learn other things that I didn't know were there.
That's
And
so cool, man.
pretty magical. It's like a
Yeah.
really good journey, and I highly recommend people to go down that rabbit hole, and you know, and I'm happy to like, you know, give links and stuff that I found.
Yeah,
So far.
100%. Yeah, please.
Yeah, and I'm still going down the rabbit hole myself. Like I have so much to learn, which is like amazing, and just makes it more fun for me.
And it's so crazy. Like Venezuela, we have this it's like a very country, but like country kind of music that is with I don't know how you call it in English, arpa. Like it's like the big one that you have the um like strings, but it has like a bunch of watching strings. I don't know the
harp? Like a harp.
harp. Yes, harp. The
Yeah.
harp. And then we have a one called cuatro that looks like very similar to the cavaquinho.
Oh,
Very similar.
yeah.
And then we have like maracas, like the shaking thing, and people, the music based is called contrapunteo, which is like two people singing, and then is one person's tells this person, the other person, like what is happening, and then it's kind of like a challenge, and then a person tells the other person, you know, like your shoes are pretty ugly, and you know you need to wash them, and then the other person has to reply to that challenge with the last word that person said.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
like, for example, like your shoes are pretty ugly, you have to wash them. And then the other person say like, yeah, you have to wash them, but and then you have to go and hey, man, it's just like really, really cool, like back to back. It is super, super cool. And it's funny that you said that the that also happened in the capoeira. And then
Yeah.
I remember I was in a hada too where so somebody I don't remember where somebody in the gunga and somebody in the tabaque was like going back to back too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's cool that you mentioned that is cool, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's some Capoeira Viva .net like on YouTube and everything. Really big influence for me for sure. Like over the years, and you can there are many videos up there with people doing this duet. I was actually just watching one, waiting to start this, the last one that was just put up there, and people singing back and forth using like the framework of a song, and
Okay.
like you have the framework of the melody, just like a hip hop battle. You
Yeah.
have the cadence, right, and then the
Yeah.
idea to fit it in there, and then going back and forth and
It's so
and
cool.
and talking about things and letting it go, just like you said, like kind of keying off of one and then letting it go to the next,
Yeah.
and then taking that and going to the next one and then using that and keeping it, and it's fun, and you see the reaction of the crowd.
It's so
Oh
cool.
wow, that's so cool, and like
Yeah.
being creative with that, and
Yeah.
like and it goes from like being funny to also like honoring people too,
Yeah.
and like it's not always like a negative thing. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
finding ways
100%.
to be, because that's part of the fun too. Like, oh yeah, your shoes are dirty, like da, 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 like
Yeah.
I'll wash them. But also like then tying that back to doing some way to like honor somebody, like somebody in the bateria or somebody that came before, like an older
Yes.
master or something like that. And being able to be creative is like, it's so impressive to me. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool and creates these like magical moments.
Yeah, yeah, and you have, like you said, you have to be in the cadence of the
Yeah,
timing of the music and keep the energy there. Is so cool, man.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
do you think that Mr. Waldemar was like attached to or what kind of issues do you think what were happening on that time that kind of like shape a little bit Mr. Waldemar? I like social wise.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a lot going on at that time that kind of reflects to where we are now, and where we were, where it was more intense with like the Black Lives Matter movement
Yeah,
and culture appropriation. And this was something that was going a lot then, and something that I've really deeply tried to figure out, because I'm not Brazilian. I'm a white guy, teaching us, black cultural art,
yeah,
um, black Latino cultural art in Florida, and it's a business. So I earn money from this, and I've always really felt that weight,
yeah.
very, very much, and that's one of the reasons why I spend so much time because I really want to know, because
Which is cool. It's cool. It's cool that you go that way.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I want to make sure I'm doing it as best justice as I can. I know I'm not going to get it perfect, and I know I make mistakes, because
For
everybody
sure.
does, right? But
100%. Even the Brazilian still does.
I like, well, so much, right?
Yeah.
So much. And it's actually the yeah. I start to find, like, I'll ask older Brazilian masters, hey, do you know this thing? They're like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what they're saying in that song. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's
Yeah,
totally okay.
100%.
But I
100%.
think it's really important to be really sincere and really spend some of your time, some of your time, like hours, like learning about this stuff. And so in this like 1940s period, 1940s, 1950s, this is kind of the period in Brazil that I'm extra interested in, because there were all these changes that were happening with industrialization, and I mean, already industrialized, but stuff was cars were coming around, and things were changing economically,
Yeah.
and so this whole thing with samba was a black thing, right?
Yeah.
And then also capoeira and samba was very much, you learned it on the street. It was just, you hung out next to the master, and they would show you some things, and
Yeah.
practiced out and about, and there wasn't a lot of structure to it. And
Yeah.
then and that's just how it was. And then the world was shifting at this time and moving towards things being more structured just in general. And then in Brazil, lighter skinned people were starting to become interested in samba. And then there's this samba group in Rio, Morro da Mangueira, which is like still really popular in this neighborhood that's really known for samba.
Okay.
And then there's another rabbit hole I went down, and there's some old black and white videos from around this time, movies of the samba performances, and it really struck me because I was watching this video in the like peak of the like Black Lives Matter marches and everything like that. Like I think it was the same weekend there was a big march here in Gainesville that I was watching this video, and it was really striking because you had this like light-skinned woman who was the star of the show
Yeah.
singing samba and everything, and it was all like young black kids like singing in the background. It was like, wow. It was like just because of course she was making the money in the video, I'm sure, becoming
Yeah.
famous and like all these things. And then so these were a lot of the conditions that were going on in Brazil at the time. And Messi Bimbo, of course, he was bringing in university students, and this was one of the things that allowed capoeira to become legal and
Yeah.
spread around the world and start to become not so marginalized. And
Yeah.
so it needed that. Unfortunately, it's kind of crazy to think it.
Yeah, that's
needed
true.
that,
Yeah.
but it did, and it pushed, and there was all this energy. So it was Messi Bimba trying to get capoeira out into the world, and he knew he had to connect with other people and bring just everybody in,
Yeah.
whoever you are, and then Messi Pashian doing his work with preserving the traditions, and then there's Messi Valdemar there too, connecting everybody and bringing people together just the way that he led. And it was this really transformative time. So really, really interesting with this like change in samba and change culturally and all these racial conditions that were going on, and people kind of, trying to connect with samba, trying to connect with capoeira, and then, now these schools are coming up, and it was really interesting.
Yeah, it's cool to see the change that Mr. Bimba did there, where like you say, like we just gotta bring everybody in, and then it's just we just gotta open up the doors for everybody, and
Yeah.
then that's my favorite part of capoeira. That is capoeira is for everybody. And doesn't matter how you look, like where you come from, and like for example, like I'm from Venezuela,
Yeah.
and then I'm I don't even know what color I am because it's just like such a mixture of, like in Venezuela we have the mixture of white, indigents, and black, and
Yeah.
then it's such a like
Yep.
mixture of everything.
Yep.
And say what?
Just like Brazil, big mix.
Yeah, and then but I have that connection there, and then so somewhere deep in my blood I know I have that like African roots
Mm-hmm.
that connects there, and then it's just like I have that deep connection with capoeira, and that's why I love it so much. And then it's just like I think there's a point that I mean, yes, is kind of like a controversial, right? That
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have to have that like African connection to be connected with capoeira. And then it's just for my perspective. And then because is I think the connection, the deep connection with capoeira comes from the energy that capoeira gives.
Yes.
And then is you can be black, Asian, uh I don't know, Latino, from anywhere, and that energy is what is going to connect you with capoeira. And then, I mean, you see kids every time we play birimbau on a park here, capoeira music in a park very close here, and every time we play birimbau, you see kids that they just like stare at us.
Yeah.
Just like that energy of the birimbau just like attracts everybody, and
Oh,
then
absolutely.
it's cool to see that connection with everybody. And then to this day is that is a mixture of good and bad, and to this day society is it's just like that weird balance of like both is going both ways.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the connection of everybody of the be inclusive with everybody. It's just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just cool. It's just cool.
Definitely. I think it's really important. I think for if you're coming from outside of a culture and you're working with it or like giving it like you really want to do it justice. And I
Yeah.
find music is like this, food is like this, dance is like this.
Yeah.
Those two things, and I'm lucky enough to work with all three. You know, my
Nice.
is food. Um, so food, dance, music, all very like cultural things. So
Yeah.
even outside of Brazil, like there's a whole thing around sushi chefs and non-Japanese, and it's like big like line there, you know, and like non-Japanese people learning the art of sushi.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel very connected to those people being non-Brazilian, learning this art and dedicating, you know, my life.
Yeah.
You know, this is 25 years of capoeira for me this year celebrating. So it's like a
Oh,
huge
cool,
chunk of
man.
my life. And but I feel that line, and I think when you're coming from the outside, there is more of a responsibility on you to go deeper
Yes.
because you're coming from the outside, and
Yes.
otherwise, you know, you like for food, for example, I think Taco Bell, right? Like it's like the worst representation of
Of
Mexican
Mexican
food.
food. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awful, right? Like they don't know anything about like how to make a tortilla, like corn, like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't care at all, you know. They're just
Yeah.
like they took this idea and like we're gonna get the cheapest ingredients, and then so honestly, when I was a kid, because I grew up in Florida, I thought that's what Mexican food was.
That's so crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, right? Crazy. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like Mexican because I don't like Taco Bell, because I was
Yeah.
like the neighborhood I grew up, like what we were talking about at the beginning, like where we grew up, you know. And then I was fortunate enough to live in California for a while, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, here we go. You know, I live, you know, like the Mission neighborhood in San Francisco, and then, you know, like, oh, okay, actually, this cuisine is amazing and
So good,
so
man.
deep and rich, and
Yeah.
and you know, if you're going to be a chef, if I was going to go cook Mexican food, I would need to like understand where does it come from, what's the history of it,
100%. Yeah. Totally.
and I think Upwood is the same way, you know. I think, and for me, it's not it. There, it goes beyond to like I don't feel like I have to. It's not like, well, I do, but I want to. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
like another way for me to connect with the capoeira and enjoy the experience of it. You know, the capoeira is so much more than just moves and jumping around and kicking and,
Yes.
you know, all this learning. It's like it's really enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. And then I tell my students too, you know, like is we it's not like you have to, but I think you should, you know. And then because it's, like you said, you just said it perfectly, that we are learning a culture. And capoeira, and like in Brazil they don't say a martial art, you know. Capoeira is a social cultural art.
Yeah.
And then and we said on different language it's a martial art because it's just the easiest way
Mhm.
to describe, right, capoeira.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have to learn that culture, you know. It comes the language, is so many things attached to this. And I remember one of the podcasts with Sigana, the wife of Peruca.
Mhm.
And she's a sambista. And then she was saying like all these connections that samba has with capoeira. And
Yeah.
it just blew my mind. It's just like, that's so crazy that everything capoeira is just as attached to little things, to a lot of little things.
Yep.
And then it creates this art, and then creates the music, and then it's just like so many connections from everywhere. And then that's what we need to study, you know. Like, doesn't
Yes.
mean that we have to become sambistas, or we have to
Right.
become you know, coco, and then things like that. But if you read about it, you understand what it is, and then things like that, you're going to understand a little bit capoeira there.
Absolutely. Capoeira for me is candomblé and samba,
Yeah,
especially.
yeah, 100%.
Sorry, a little congested. But yeah, and the more I've learned that, the more you start to see it, And then the
Yes.
more it can help you with how to connect personally with capoeira. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's crazy. It's like the music and the movements, uh, the like stumbling but not falling, like
Yeah.
idea, and like for like some of the like quebradas in the ginga, it's like
Yeah.
all samba, like stumble but not fall. And
Yeah.
then the music is the same way too, these like the beats and the tempo, and then like
Yes.
communication between the drums. We did a thing here a couple years ago, and I'm gonna be doing another round with my students here, where like I'm not part of Candomblé, but I've tried to like learn about it.
Yeah.
Nothing we do at my academy is religious at all, but it's like the United States was founded on Puritan values, but you don't have to be Puritan religion to be in the United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah. 100%.
Same thing, like Candomblé formed capoeira, part of the formation, but you don't have to practice it.
100%.
Respect the people that do, for sure,
Yeah.
just like anything else. But we took some time and learned about the three drums and the agogo in Candomblé. And
Nice.
we took the humpi and lay, the
Yeah.
three size drums, and then the agogo, and just we took some time to study the Ije rhythm, and
Okay.
what the three drums do and what the agogo does. We didn't go super deep. My knowledge is pretty limited there. There's some pretty amazing people, but we did a little study for a couple weeks on that, and students took turns, and we studied it, from
Yeah.
what we could. We brought in a guy from Bahia that lives here in
Oh, cool.
Gainesville, and he's just steeped in Brazilian percussion and candomblé and everything. And he came and did a nice workshop with us. And after we did that, all the students came out playing atabaki and pandero like totally different. Even
No
though
way.
you're like just understanding how to connect and converse with the drums and
Yeah.
the agogo, and like now we use the agogo. We actually use the sino jivaca a lot more here in my academy, the cowbell.
Yeah.
But we trade out the sino jivaca or the agogo de castanha, the Brazil nut one, or the metal one,
Yeah.
kind of give a different feel. But just doing that study, it was like just everybody in the
Wow.
academy, like, and then it gave like a new feel to the bateria here, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's cool to see that connection with music when people kind of like have that click with the music, and you like, man, and you see the difference, and you like, people start like, have the swing, and then you just like enjoying it, and then now you have that connection there. It's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah, then because I have so in Venezuela we had a version of Candomblé that
Oh yeah,
is
really?
called Santeria. Is the
Oh, yeah.
Cuban version of
Yeah.
your wife probably knows, right?
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
Santeria. So in Venezuela, Santero is like the Pai de Santo in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I have ceremonies of Pai de Santo, and like initiated in Santeria there,
Oh
which
wow.
yeah, which is cool. And then that's why I wanted to get that connection there,
Yeah.
because and that got me that connection a little bit deeper with capoeira too. And
Yeah.
then, and personally, that's just my choice. And then I just love that part of the African culture there, and then on the Santeria and Candomblé, and I love all those kind of stuff.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's really interesting the candomblé influenced songs in capoeira, and the ones that aren't even in Portuguese, Urubá and stuff.
Yeah.
They're some of my favorite. And I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of different mestres when I would travel, and
Yeah.
asking their opinions, people that are part of candomblé and people that are not part of candomblé, but
Yeah.
like other Brazilian mestres on both sides. And because there's a whole debate of this, of like what you can sing, what you can't sing, what you should sing, what you shouldn't sing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of very different personal opinions on that. I have my own at this point,
Yeah.
and I respect everybody's opinion on that. I think it's good to know when you go someplace, like when you're in somebody else's house, you look to see how they do it. Do they wear their shoes in the house? Do they take off the shoes? Like,
Yes.
do they have, how do you sit, or what? I like to look at that, like it's somebody's house. So if it's somebody that I know, like I walk into their academy and I see they have the stuff for candomblé above the door, and like I try to know about them. like, okay, all right, this person is like part of that religion, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a little more careful for if I want to sing some of the songs that I know are connected to Candomblé. And so I try to, that's part of me just trying to connect, and it's not me like right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
just trying to connect with that person and
Yeah.
their environment.
That's so cool,
Or,
man. You do
yeah.
that.
Or I'll go to like another person's academy and I've already had a conversation with them and they're like, oh no, it's just part of the music and we know where it comes from, but it's more the energy and
Yeah.
Okay, all right, it's a little more loose here.
Yeah.
So I can sing, Ogunye, Ogunye, Tataki Maleke.
Yeah.
That's like really like, but I think I don't know. I think it's good just to be like aware.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's cool that you do that. They go, huh?
Pisa no chão devagar.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
There's a song from Varão Angola, like super amazing musician. I don't know if you know who Varão is.
I know, but
oh my gosh, dude, this guy like he's very connected in Candomblé. I've never met him personally, but he has a really amazing album with Messe Perna and Varão, and he's very connected in Candomblé, very connected in samba, very connected in capoeira, and he has a group Casa de Tapeira with Mesquita, and it's a samba study group. And really amazing. But he has this song, Casa Alheia, Pisa no chão devagar. Casa Alheia, Pisa no chão devagar. So basically like when you're in somebody else's house, like slowly,
Yeah.
Like a warning or like an advice, to people. And I think that's really important. Like when you show up at someone's academy or an event, like see how the things are first, try to connect, see what it is, and then like when I started Capoeira, it was more about like, oh, don't do that. You're in trouble. Like mad. And I think for me now, it's more about like, I just want to have like a deeper connection with the energy at that place,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good way of respecting the house of somebody. It's the same thing. Like you said, like the first time you go to somebody's house, you don't go straight to the fridge, right?
Exactly.
Until you have already friendship and you're already friends and you already know each other and you go open the fridge because you're already friends and you already have that connection. You know how they work and you know who they are. But it's just like, it's just like it's cool that you do that and you have that connection there and then you try to respect that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I tell my students, like when we were talking about etiquette and everything like that, everybody's like really concerned about etiquette. They don't want to like make a mistake. And I think it's very important. But I think if you just kind of keep some things in mind, like you said, you don't go straight for the fridge.
Yeah.
Like if you know how to play piano and you go to somebody's house and they have a piano, you don't just open it up and start playing. It's an instrument. Like you ask first and maybe you tell them you know how to play piano. I reconnected with a mestre here in Florida, Mestre Betinho, who I had met like a long time ago first, but we didn't connect back then, like years ago. And then I was reconnecting with him and some other people in Florida, and I went to go to his event, and I wasn't connected. Now he's a really good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, amazing capoeirista, and he's very musically inclined. And I knew this about him. And like I know how to string a beat and bow. I'm very intentional. Like I'm really crazy about tuning and like things. I'm really connected. But when I show up there and I'm like, I'm not gonna even touch the beat and bow, I ask it. So first I ask, can I play pandero? Okay, and I just happy on the pandero. I'm just gonna contribute. I'm not gonna go for like, I need to play beat and bow. I want to see, and so I have to see like, all right, who are the people that he trusts? Like who's leading the bateria when he's in the roda? Who does he give it? Who's controlling things? What's the vibe? What's the energy? And like you try to plug in, like, okay. And then after some time of getting to know him and understanding how he likes to tune his beat and bows, very different from me. And I went to one of his students' events, Ray, and Ray's a good friend of mine. And he's like, oh, Mico, help me tune the beat and bows. I'm like, man, I know Mestre Betinho is not going to like it. But okay, I'll tune it. I'll help out. And sure enough, Mestre Betinho comes over like, no.
And he speaks it.
That's fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's his house.
it's his house. It's his house, of course, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the beauty. And like, whereas before, like when I started Capoeira, it was very much like, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, even though there's so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, I think it's part of the beauty, and we all know that there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Like tune a bateria, or like a type of energy, or how you know, what is the gunga medio viola doing in a bateria?
Yeah.
There's so many right ways to do it. I think the more important thing is just to be intentional.
Yeah.
And like,
100%.
Like, and not just get up there and bang on the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like at this last event with Mestre Lobinho,
Yeah.
you know, okay, how do you guys, like, what do you guys play? It's like, oh, some Bento Grande on all three.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's cool. And I kind of knew that a little bit ahead of time. That's not what I do. I play it differently, you know.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It sounded good, because if you tune it right, the three beat and bounce playing some Bento Grande can sound amazing. And it sounds
100%.
You know, and they all kind of, because they're in different places, and you know, so I think that's the more important thing, just being intentional about it.
Yeah, 100%. And then to wrap it up here really quick, a single advice for the Capoeira community based on music, or on your knowledge on music that you use your studies.
Yeah, have fun and enjoy it. Take the stress off. Try to understand the difference between, this is probably more for teachers, but try to understand the difference between performance space and practice space. And this gets mixed a lot in capoeira, which is, I think, what creates a lot of like fear and anxiety in people.
Yeah.
Being able to separate, okay, I'm practicing now, so I can make mistakes and it's okay. Or this is performance space, and now it's just the time, if you know, to play. And having that separate, like batizado time, when people are getting in the court, that's performance space. So it's just the people that know, and that's the time for that practice space. So, okay, this Friday night roda, no problem. Get on the drum. If you make a mistake, no problem. And no one's gonna give you the look. It's like, let's just roll, you know. It's like this thing we joke about in capoeira, like the look the Messi gives you. There's a time that, you know, because the performance, okay, but give some practice space too for yourself personally, internally, and for students. That's a big thing, I would say. And have fun. Just have fun.
Yeah. Having fun is the best part, because that way you don't all stress out. You know, and then I always tell my students, okay, sometimes at the beginning you bring your shoulders up, but you kind of like tense it, you know, you relax your shoulders, just have fun, just enjoy and feel the music, and just like get connected with that music there. Just have fun. That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Oh man, thank you so much for being here, sharing your knowledge. We'll definitely do more podcasts, and then, you know, I hope to see you again.
Awesome, Kashishi. Yeah, man, it's been great connecting with you. I think we have an awesome connection, and thanks so 100%. Much for the talk and giving me a space to get some stuff out.
Oh, nice. Of course. We'll have more conversations, and then there's a lot of stuff that we can keep talking about.
Beautiful. All right, Kashishi, thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you, man. You too. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this episode one more time. And thank you so much for being part of the Capoeira community. I'm very happy you made it all the way to the end. Now, make sure you listen to the next episode next week, or the following week, or the previous episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And don't forget to reach out so we can have you on the podcast. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey in the Capoeira community. And I really, really hope to see you one time here in Indianapolis, or I'll see you in the Hada next time. Okay. Keep training, keep your Capoeira school, keep supporting your Capoeira school, and keep training, keep loving Capoeira, keep training, keep playing the Hada. I'll see you in the Hada next time.